We are going to look into what scientists are and what characteristics make up different scientists. And we're going to look into famous scientists from back in the day to modern day scientists. So, what leads you to believe that this guy could be a scientist? Is it the white lab coat? Is it the goggles? If you look around, you can see some lab tools back in the background, but you can tell it looks like he just might be in his garage. So can science happen in a garage? How about Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor? What makes him a scientist? SpongeBob SquarePants, the professional burger flipper, is he a scientist? How about the guy that made SpongeBob? He's a marine biologist, so is he a scientist? Or even Bill Nye, your favorite science guy. There are millions of scientists out there, and we're going to touch on a few of them. This is not anywhere close to all of them. The first one is Charles Drew. You may have heard of him, you may not. He was a famous athlete, but he decided to pursue an education and become a doctor. He was one of the first ones to discover blood, and that blood had plasma in it. So he opened the Red Cross Blood Bank. Mario Molina researched CFCs. CFCs are things that damage our atmosphere. If you've ever heard of the hole in the ozone layer, CFCs are responsible for that. So he did some research, and that is why most CFCs have been banned. He won the Nobel Prize in 1995 for chemistry. Ellen Ochoa, she was the first Hispanic woman to ever go to space. She started her space missions in 1991. She spent over 900 hours in space. She received her recognition from NASA. George Washington Carver, I'm sure you've heard of him. He was born into slavery, but was one of the few that was able to go on and pursue an education in agriculture. He introduced peanuts and soybeans, found over 300 uses for peanuts. That's where we got peanut butter. Rebecca Cole was the second black woman to graduate from medical school. She joined Elizabeth Blackwell, who taught hygiene and childcare to different families that were in poverty at the time. Elizabeth Blackwell was the first woman to graduate from medical school. She has established her own school of medicine for women. Rosalind Franklin became a physical chemist while working at King's College in England. She discovered DNA had a twisted ladder shape, or what we call a helix shape. Watson and Crick have been known to have taken her work and said that they discovered DNA, and she didn't get any credit being a woman. So when you think about a scientist, what do they look like? Do they have white hair? Are they an older man? Do they have that white lab coat on? Are there beakers bubbling over in the background? Are they wearing goggles? What do you think of? Anyone can be a scientist, and when you ask questions about the world around you, you're actually acting like a scientist. You're trying to figure out how something works, or you're trying to solve a problem, just like scientists do. So I want you to take the time, and I want you to jot down a couple ideas of what you think about when you see a scientist, and then I want you to draw a picture of you being a scientist and what kind of things you would have around you and be wearing. So take the time and go ahead and do that.